So in this video, we're going to be demonstrating how to use liquid watercolor. In this project, you're going to need brushes, watercolor paper, water and a container for the water, a painting palette or a container for your liquid watercolors, liquid watercolor, and paper towels. So first off, you want to make sure you have your watercolor paper prepared. So for this project, I went ahead and cut mine into a half sheet. You're also going to need brushes. I have a large brush here and a small brush, and I'm going to show you in a second why I have it that way. But before doing that, I'm going to pour the liquid watercolors that I have here. So first I have yellow as my first color, and I'm going to go ahead and open up the bottle and pour it into my container. I'm going to make sure we have a good amount. And then I'm going to take my second color, which is blue, and then pour that as well. So after pouring your colors into your container, what you're going to do is take your brush. I'm starting with my large brush. I'm doing this because what we're going to do today is something called the wet on wet technique. So I'm going to go ahead and take my brush, dip it in the water, and then lightly wet the surface of our paper. So I'm just taking the water and distributing it across the paper like so. For this technique, you don't necessarily have to fill the entire paper, but today I'm going to do that. So after applying the water to your paper, you can take your second brush. I'm gonna use a smaller brush so I can have more control over what I'm doing. So I'm gonna take that, dip it in the water, and then I'm also gonna choose my next color. So I'm gonna start with yellow. And what I'm gonna do is just put it on my paper. So with this, you can spread it across your paper, or you can lightly tap and just watch it spread. So you can play around with how you will apply it, your application, but this is basically how you do the wet on wet technique. So in between your colors, you want to clean your brush. So we're cleaning our brush now, and then we're going to take our second color. Mine is blue, and then what I'm going to do is lightly tap. And then here you can see the colors diffusing if you do it that way. Or you can do what I showed you earlier and spread. So for this technique, you can play around with that. Clean your brush in between colors. You can also take your bigger brush if you would like to use that. So I'm going to show you that now. Here's my bigger brush, wetting it. I'm gonna take some more yellow and do it that way. If you want to cover more area of your painting, you can do that. With wet on wet techniques, you can also play around and experiment. So for example, instead of applying water to the whole paper, I can leave some of it dry and the paint will kind of resist that area. So if you see in this corner, I didn't get water right there, so the paint isn't exactly covering it. You can also play around with tilting your paper like so to have the colors spread across the paper to help cover more area. So that is a basic demonstration of how you can do liquid watercolor.